What's up, Silver Stackers? Thank you so much for being here. This is Silver Slayer. Last night, I watched a very interesting podcast where Elon Musk was the special guest. It premiered last night. I watched it live. Now, this was the Full Send podcast. This is not something like the Joe Rogan podcast. These are younger college kids. So, as expected, a lot of the talk was, are aliens real? Are robots going to take over the world? That type of stuff. But out of the blue, someone did ask him, do you think we're headed into a recession? Now, Elon talks in segments and very fast. So I wrote down the main segments that he mentions, which is basically highlighting the entire narrative of what he's trying to get across. He talks about inflation first. He goes into inflation saying he thinks and hopes inflation goes down. And he says, Tesla prices are irrationally high. But then he goes in to say this. He says at Tesla, he sees the prices of commodities going down over the next 6 months and says that's actually a very positive sign on the equation part, meaning Tesla prices, cost of production. So let's break down what he just said. He's saying that he hopes Tesla prices can go back down because prices, and I quote, are irrationally high. But he says it's the commodities market that is a positive sign since prices are lowering that will solve this problem. I don't know about you, but it doesn't take corn, soybeans, sugar, coffee, pigs, cattle to make a Tesla. It doesn't even take gold to make a Tesla. Silver is the only commodity that would be affecting his cost of production as leading to Tesla prices being, and I quote, irrationally high. The only commodity, and we're talking about Tesla, SpaceX, that really matters to Elon Musk is silver. He's single-handedly saying since silver prices are going to stay low or seem to be staying low over the next 6 months, he says, and he got this data from Tesla, probably just from, their own data, he says that this is a positive sign. Now, he kind of, he twisted the question more into his own business, which it makes sense. I mean, his whole mind is around his business. So if you ask about inflation or any of that, he's going to only give experience that he knows, not from what he just assumes or, it makes sense. But it seems like a large part of what he's talking about is commodity markets staying low to help the cost of production stay low to, in return, cut the cost for Teslas being, and I quote, irrationally high. But the only commodity that would affect him staying low is silver, because silver is the main thing he needs. And I've mentioned this before. And it's funny because a couple days ago, I actually made a video talking about how Elon Musk is a secret silver stacker. Now, he would never say the word silver on this podcast. He would use the word commodities, the commodities market. But it's funny because Elon Musk being a secret silver stacker makes so much sense. Mike Maloney and David Morgan both sent Elon Musk personal letters urging him to buy silver. Mike Maloney even does the math. He says, Elon, you plan on selling X amount of Teslas by the year 2030. Right now, if you buy it at where silver is $25, you'll be paying this much. If you have to pay at $50, it's this much. If you pay at $100, it's, and I think it was $3.14 billion. He says you need to be buying silver right now, hopefully as a direct source to a refiner. And I just kind of went off that and shared some data from David Morgan talking about it, all that. But then this comes out. The first thing I thought about when he said this was, wow, he really does get it. Because one of the biggest questions I was considering when I was making those videos about Elon Musk and how relevant silver is to all of his businesses, whether it's SpaceX or Tesla or Solar City, which, by the way, he mentions that Solar City is now Tesla. It's not Solar City anymore. But all of his businesses require a lot of silver. And he's a genius. He knows this. Gold is used for jewelry and coins and necklaces and watches and earrings. Gold is a small percentage of gold is used in technology. Silver is heavily used in technology. It takes about 58 grams of silver in a Tesla. They're trying to cut it down to around 28 grams, but that's not going to put a dent in the amount of demand, or especially with the supply deficit. It's not enough. They are starting to focus more on recycling, but at the end of the day, when we're talking about the entire world going digital, technological, with the amount of silver we have, it's just unrealistic. Now that's a whole separate video. Even David Morgan in the Elon Musk letter or the article talking about it said that though. He said if anyone thinks that we have enough silver for the entire world to go green, he says you're what do you say? You're delusional, or he said you're a dreamer or something along those lines. Because David Morgan gets it. He looks at the numbers, he looks at the data, and he's a realist. Regardless, though, trying to revert back to this Elon Musk thing, do you think he just open-handedly, subliminally talked about silver prices determining the outcome of Tesla production or the cost of production in return, determining the quote-unquote irrationally high Tesla prices at the moment? I think so. I personally think so. I mean, I didn't want to show the clip from the podcast because my video easily could have been taken down or copyright striked or whatever. So I wrote segment for segment how he responded to that. If you want to go check out that podcast, just type in Elon Musk full send or whatever, it'll pop right up. I can't even put the timestamp of where he mentions it because I watched it. I watched it as it was premiering, so there was no timestamp in the video. You could probably go through. It's about, I would say, like a third of the way in where they start talking about inflation and all that. It's a little segment, but it's a good podcast. You should watch the entire thing, in my opinion, honestly. He does talk about a lot of important things with AI and self-driving Tesla, where he thinks that's headed, yada, yada. It's some good stuff. But that segment right there definitely stood out more than anything and was the most telling. And it's sad because it flew over everyone's head. Like when he said all that, there was so much substance, but afterwards, it was kind of just quiet because they didn't even know what he was saying, right? He knew what he was saying, and the way he responded, he knew that, I think he knew that they wouldn't know what he was saying, and that's probably why he said it the way he did. He's a very smart person, and like I said, he speaks very fast and speaks in segments, and that's why I had to go back and write down word for word how he said it because it's he's just a very unique person and he talks very specific and he uses words very wisely, like to use the word commodities and use just the way he said it was very subliminal, and I don't think anyone else besides a very smart investor or someone who's in precious metals would have caught what he was saying. So yeah, I wanted to throw that question to you. Do you think he was talking about silver, or do you think he meant on a more grand scale? The reason I don't think that is because he mentions Tesla and he even says, looking at the data, he says coming in from Tesla. He doesn't just say, looking at the markets. He says back in Tesla, looking at our data, we see that commodity prices are going to be staying lower. He says some more so than others, or something like that. And then he goes into what I already talked about. But regardless, at the end of the day, Elon better be buying a lot of silver, better own a lot of silver, and I don't see why he wouldn't. I mean, he's been making Tesla since 2015, probably earlier, doing all the testing and stuff. So it would only make sense, especially given the fact that he's already acknowledging and saying that he's looking at commodities prices if they're going to be going lower or higher. That's him directly saying that he's looking at silver prices. I mean, that literally is him saying that. Why would he look at wheat prices? Why would he look at even gold prices? None of that affects the cost of production for a Tesla. So he literally is saying he's making sure silver prices stay low, and he has hope Tesla prices will go back down because they're quote unquote irrationally high right now. So what do you think? I passed the question to you. Did you watch that podcast? Are you going to go watch it? Did you just watch it? And what do you think? If you could put a timestamp, if you do find it, or someone who goes and watches it, come back here and put a timestamp on the section where he talks about this so other people can find it pretty easily. I wish I could, but I watched it premiered. It's actually still going on, but I wanted to hop on and make this video right away because it is getting late at night and I'm probably going to get to bed soon. But so yeah, wanted to just throw this your direction, see what you guys have to say about it, because I do think it's pretty obvious. And now at least we know that Elon is at least acknowledging silver prices and is determining what Tesla prices are going to be off of that, which, like Mike Maloney said, he better be, because he's talking about, I think he said 786 million if silver's $50 and then 3.14 billion if silver's 100. I mean, that makes sense because 50 to 100. So yeah, so Elon Musk is definitely buying a lot of silver behind the scenes, but he's never going to say that word. He's going to say commodities. But if anyone has even half a brain, they would understand when he says commodities, he's talking about silver. I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, please like the video. If you want to subscribe, I post daily videos. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.